This video is part of a plan reading series, specifically foundations and how to read a foundation detail. We will be discussing the footing and foundation detail of a residential plan set. As we discussed in reading cover sheets, you can see that the detail I have up here is the cover sheet. So you always go to the cover sheet first, as I mentioned in that video, and you go to the architectural drawing and sheet index. So you see that in the architectural drawing sheet index, it tells us that A-2.0 would give us our foundation plan and all the notes and details associated with that. So we're going to move from the cover sheet to A-2.0. So when we get to sheet A20, you see that we have familiar information that we talked about in the cover sheet video. We have the architectural seal, we have the sheet number, and then we also have some notes. If you look at the notes to the left, you're going to see that we have different requirements by the ACI, American Concrete Institute. So these are just general notes to the concrete contractor telling him that he's also going to have to follow not only the plan detail and the architect's callouts, but he's also going to have to follow codes set forth by the ACI and ASTM standards regarding reinforcement used and the requirements for structural concrete. Now, if we continue to move to the left on that sheet number, we'll see the actual general details, and then there's specific callouts. So the one that we're going to be looking at is 2A4.0. But you look at this sheet here, and there's different callouts, and these callouts bring you to specific details. And if you go to that detail that callout is identifying, it'll bring up a more specific detail about a section of the plan. And for instance, 2A4.0, which we're going to be going to, is the wall section. So it's going to give us an elevation view of the wall section. And that's what we're going to be looking at, the footing and foundation of this particular build. Included in the general information on this foundation detail, you see that the footings here are being called out. So the footings where the column is going to be placed, and then of course a beam will be on top of that. You also see the slab for the garage, and you see the slab for the basement. So this is actually the foundation plan showing the basement, showing the piers for the columns. It's also showing the slab work for the garage and also for the basement. So those are other things that you're going to find in this foundation plan. So now when we go to the actual call out detail sheet, which is sheet A4.0, we find that detail that was called out. It's 2A-4.0, and that's the wall section. So we'll look at this wall section. We'll kind of take it from the bottom up. And the architect is giving us a lot of information. So whether you are building, whether you're inspecting, whether you're a homeowner trying to determine what the plan information means, this is how you would read your footing and foundation plan. So if you look at the bottom here, we have a 1 foot 6 inch footing width. So we need an 18-inch footing width. It has to be 8 inches in depth. So if you look at the depth of it, it's a 9-foot wall. So from top of footing to top of foundation, you have 9 foot indicated. Also, there's other information regarding insulation. So they're looking for R15 rigid foam board insulation. So that helps with if the basement is going to be finished or there's a value of insulation that has to be placed on the inside walls, you've already bought yourself an R15 value on the outside wall. It also talks about damp proofing. So damp proofing, and it gives a note that it has to be from top of foundation to top of footing. And I'll show you some pictures so that you understand it more practically. But again, back to the footing, it's a 18-inch by 8-inch footing. And it shows us, if you look to the right here, it shows us that we have to have 2 number 5 continuous bars. So 2 continuous rebars in the footing. And there has to be a minimum of 3-inch concrete coverage over those bars. So if we continue up on this detail, we see that the wall width that they're looking for, the actual foundation wall, is an 8-inch width. Okay, as we continue up, you see the note for a number 6 vertical dowel bar at 36 inches on center. So they want a bar doweled into the footing. So you have a hook into the footing that goes into the foundation wall. And as we continue up, it tells us a minimum lap of 30 bar diameters. And essentially what that is saying is that you multiply the size of the bar times 30 to give you the amount of laps. So it would roughly be around 18 to 20 inches for a number 6 bar. Then as we continue up, you see that they want a number 4 within 12 inches of the top of the foundation at 1/3 points in the foundation wall. So we have a 9-foot wall. So we want to see bars at approximately every 36 inches to meet that requirement. Continuing up, we see they want vertical bars. Number 6 is at 36 on center. So that matches our dowel down below. And everything has to be wire tied. Nothing can just be placed in the footing or into the form. It has to be wire tied. If it's in the footing, it has to be on chairs and held off of the soil. And if it's in the foundation wall, it has to be tied so that when they pour, it stays in place. Then continue to move up. We see that they want 2 number 5 bars, top and bottom of the foundation wall. So you're going to have 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. You're going to have the bars in between at the third points. You're going to have vertical bars that are going to be 36 on center. And lastly, as we move to the top of the page, you see that they're calling for 1/2 inch diameter anchor bolts, 48 inches on center, and they're calling for it to be installed in the middle 1/3 of the plate. So I've included a few pictures just to kind of get it in your mind's eye. So this would be a typical form picture. This next one would be the bars in the form. So you see the actual reinforcement that's tied. You see the horizontal bars that are in this particular form. The next one would be the piers. You see the columns sitting on the piers and then the beams above going into the beam pockets on the foundation walls. Next is a recently poured footing with the keyway formed into the footing. This would be an example of the damp proofing that's applied to foundation walls. It has to be applied at the top of the footing to the top of the foundation. And this would be an example of the foam insulation that's applied to the foundation wall to provide an exterior insulation value on that wall. Okay, so I hope this video helped you understand the foundation detail of a plan set. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and remember to subscribe, and thanks for watching.